Welcome to the Intuitive Pool podcast and welcome to season 6. This is a time of harvest. This season is dedicated to bearing the fruits of your labor as we come into alignment with your full joy, your full trust, your full faith, and your fullest expression of your leadership today. I am so excited about sharing this next season with you. Well, I'm now back from Bali and had my first day of client calls, which was just wonderful. And the day started with a group call for my Best Year Yet program. And what I decided to do was to go through all the notes to self that I wrote in Bali before coming on that call and highlighting the pieces that I most wanted to share with this group. And then after the group call completed, I thought to myself, you know what, that might actually be valuable to share on the podcast. So here you are, me sharing my notes to self, which are very raw and intense and also clarifying. Why am I sharing them with you? Because I want you to be activated. I want the intensity that I felt to also love you forward into the new. At the end of the call, after I shared my notes to self, beautiful Susie reflected something back at me, and I have, with her permission, included that small and really precious piece. Enjoy. So I really was looking forward to this call because it's immediately post Bali. Like, we arrived yesterday morning on that horrible overnight flight, with no sleep. So no sleep the night before. I had the best night's sleep last night. Oh my gosh. I was looking forward to it because you're my first connection, right? Since being in Bali. So I was so looking forward to this. There is a lot to share today. There is so much to share. So Bali was a great gift, but boy, was it intense. And if it hadn't been my notes to self, I don't know what I would have done. So my notes to self were a place for me to go to and be with all that was moving through me. I had so many sleepless nights there, especially in the last 5 days were good. The first 5 days were just so sleepless. Very bad weather, a lot of noise, beautiful villa, amazing villa, but lots of noise, trees going on the roof and then just being prodded and poked in my sleeplessness. As I said, absolutely intense. So I have context and I'm grateful that I went. Bali had to happen. I wrote a post on Facebook and somebody said, but would that have happened even if you didn't go to Bali? For sure. The intensity and where I went to would have happened for sure. But I feel that because I went to Bali and I was there for 10 days, especially those first 5 days, that was the gift. That was the gift. So I'm grateful, very grateful to having gone. So I wrote thousands of words in my notes to self. I'm not going to share all of them with you, but I'm definitely going to share a lot with you today. As I share, so it's not going to be neat, right? Because it wasn't neat. I haven't gone in and structured this over here and structured this over here or framed this over here. I'm going to share it raw with you. And the purpose of me sharing it with you is for it to create some intensity within you, right? We're ending 2024, we're coming into 2025. There have been a couple of themes that have been playing with me already. I'm just going to let them show themselves throughout the writing, and then we'll see how those themes want to play with you. I will say this, that my best year yet is not a nice little program to do. Not a nice little experience for us to have together, where you're going to just, play nice. You're not being asked to play nice. You're not being asked to play small. Certainly not being asked to play safe. Certainly not being asked to play safe. right? So I said on the call, at the intro of the call, that my notes to self were such a blessing because they were a place where I could go to and just be with what was happening and then see. And what I've done this morning is I've highlighted the bits that I want to read to you. There's detail that I'm not going to read to you because it would make no sense. There'd be no value. So I'm going to start with this one as I'm reading. Just be with what I'm reading. Allow what I'm reading to do things to you, right? To work you. So it'll be different for everybody. So this was Note to Self 213, 9th of December, the power of being conflicted and the power of embracing paradox and irony to show us a vision of beautiful madness beyond what we've seen before. I hear the words, how dare I not stand in my leadership? And this is a time of harvest. I also ponder, so at this time of year, I don't know if you're noticing on the internet, there's so many coaches out there talking about how to make more money. It's all about money, money, money. I don't know if you're noticing that. So I hear the words, how do I not stand in my leadership? And this is a time of harvest. I also ponder how attractive my messaging around money is on the internet because I don't talk about that. I don't lead with that. And how I don't feel the pull towards this conversation. As the consequence, yes, but not as the first port of call. My question is, what is my messaging and is it attractive enough to bring people in? And then I go, is that even a question to be thinking about? And then there's a part of me that wishes to let it all go and surrender. And yet I feel conflicted because I know this is a time of harvest. So I'm playing with the paradox, right? That I know it's a time of harvest, but I'm being called to surrender and let it all go. It's like, what? What? I don't get that. Because there's so much abundance here and you're telling me to let it all go. I don't get that. So conflicted is the context that is here actually. And then I start writing about, this theme of beautiful madness that I've shared with you before. So I start saying, invite myself into this year of beautiful madness, my own year of beautiful madness. What does that look like? Of course, I have to see it and give it to myself first. January is a blank canvas, a blank slate from which to create the new, of course. Receive my own year of beautiful madness, which actually begins here in Bali and also Noosa. Don't go to the how, go to the vision. Be inspired here in Bali. Be in a state of receiving and allowing. This is the perfection of being conflicted. When variables seem to be in conflict with each other, its purpose is to see a higher vision, to be in a state of receiving and allowing, right? The conflict of this is a time of harvest, but be called to let go of it all, let go of it all. Its purpose is to see a higher vision, to be in a state of receiving and allowing. Conflict allows us to work with paradox and irony. What is the perfection of paradox? That two seemingly opposing variables can coexist, each in their own perfection, and together form a more beautiful vision. Can I hold the paradox without fear? What is the perfection of irony? Irony allows us to see the perfection of the moment with more depth and allows and always points to our leadership and what we're here to be of service to. The irony is that I can't lead a vision of beautiful madness until I've seen it for myself. And until I can say, wow, that truly is beautiful madness to propose that. I'm not in this vision myself. So irony and paradox have created a powerful invitation for me to allow myself to receive my own vision of beautiful madness. And that makes me very teary. And of course, I see the power of irony and paradox. Yes, I was appreciating paradox and irony once again as I was writing all this out. And know that this will also be on the map. I always talk about when I receive things, it goes up on my map on my whiteboard, and then I go and teach about it. And of course, I have to let go and surrender, for how else would this vision of beautiful madness arrive? By holding on to what I've already known and experienced? Of course not. The conflict I had about how the variables of harvesting and letting go can coexist is a paradox I can hold. That was Note to Self, 9th of December. Note to Self, 214th, 10th of December, entitled, Well, That Was Inconvenient. I have been awake for hours. Is this what they call night school? At the end of my massage yesterday, so I had I had lots of massages, which was wonderful. I was in Bingen, and it was one of those real cheap $19 a massage, you know, lots of people. And yet at the end of this massage, I hear, Giselle, your intuition that supersedes and bypasses external technology and strategy, remember? Like I was like, Giselle, your intuition, your superpower, remember? Um, and it really kind of woke me up. Like when I heard it on the massage table, it really woke me up. So this is the morning now, and I've been awake for hours. And then I think for the past 5 hours that I've been awake, the same prodding and poking occurred. So, what do I need to download that I was prodded and poked about last night? Number one, see your fundamental shift in identity all the way through. This is a multi-pronged demand. Ensure that the identity you have chosen to put to bed is done so with love, care, and diligence over time. Do not let the ego let you off the hook by saying you've got this in the bag and so you're good to go. Instead, see this fundamental shift away from behaviors, habits, addictions, and distractions as a love affair with a version of you full of electricity and aliveness for the new. This is a new relationship with yourself that needs the gift of time and nurturing until this version of you is just who you are. What has been unresolved for a lifetime requires the due respect of unconditional love and focus until that identity no longer has power over you. Number two, lead from your superpowers. This shift in identity isn't just about putting to bed a version of you that has passed its use-by date. When your time, energy, and focus is no longer expended on trying to avoid and resolve who you do not want to be, that you were previously powerless to, you are now gifted with a choice as to how to direct this spaciousness. What quality of attention do you replace your previous angst with? Use this spaciousness wisely. For some of us who are 50 years plus of age, there is no time but now to live from our superpowers. What are they? How much time, energy, and attention have we given to our superpowers? On a scale of 0 to 10, how much do we respect our superpowers? And what percentage do we lead and live from our superpowers? This is really what I was provoked on the massage table about. In our world of relativity and need for contrast, in order to appreciate what they are, sometimes we have to forget them. Sometimes we need to devalue the power of these supernatural abilities. Now, you may think that you don't have supernatural abilities, but that could not be further from the truth. We all do. Each of us has unique expressions of our infinite nature. Some of us are intuitively connected and knowing. Some of us have an ability to genuinely take care of people, even in the hardest of times. Some of us have unbelievably creative genius minds. Some of us are able to hold complexity and conflict with ease. Some of us cannot help but hold excellence, not perfection, but excellence as the standard. Some of us have tenacity beyond measure. Some of us see the illusions of the finite world and forge new realities previously impossible. Some of us have a depth of compassion and generosity that changes people's lives. Since 2 a.m. this morning, I've been awake to this message. Not convenient at all, considering I'm currently holidaying in Bali. I feel like I've been taken by the shoulders and literally shaken to pay attention to what feels literally and unequivocally like a wake-up call. I would have preferred this wake-up call not to have occurred from 2 a.m. this morning. Nevertheless, Fiona Hagen says that Bali is keeping me accountable to my superpowers. 10th of December. And this is simply a subject matter. I actually don't go and write about it. Is this about quantum results again? Who am I in my boldest, courageous, playing full out from my superpowers? And then the next note to self, 11th of December. I'm in my own festival of beautiful madness in Bali, I realize. Because I've been thinking about putting on a festival of beautiful madness, which you'll hear about a little bit later on. And then I realized actually I'm in my own one here in Bali. Another night of being woken with messages and directives. First of all, this premise. It's amazing, actually, just the clarity. I know you know all about this, Misha. The clarity of the wording that I was receiving in my sleeplessness. So you must surrender again into the new to experience what is possible. That was the premise. You must surrender again into the new to experience what is possible. I'm being asked to be in the unknown again and to take leaps from here. Last night I could feel my soul saying yes. It feels similar to 2013 when I didn't know what would happen. I had no foresight of it, and abundance came in all ways beyond my imagination and perception of what is possible. I feel ready to surrender again and to say yes to the new, even though it might be a little scary, because this is a time of harvest. I'm asked to embrace the paradox and irony of this moment. I say yes to the depth and breadth of my leadership found in the paradox and irony. I say yes to following the intuitive pulls from a place of purity and knowing. I say yes to these moments of beautiful madness as I follow my nose with curiosity, detachment, and a little trepidation. I say yes to inviting others into a level of impact and results they've not yet had the privilege of experiencing. I say yes to playing full out for my superpowers. I say yes to the fundamental shift in identity as we see our completions and resolutions all the way through, to lead from a version of us that has said yes to the God in me and in you. I say yes to the collaborations I see. I see so much abundance. I see the contrast of my current model feeling so small and limited. In this new vision that I'm starting to see, which I won't go into yet, I see tentacles of impact, of breadth, of truly experiencing this as a time of harvest. And then I had this quote. It came as a quote: lend them this mission. Lend them this mission. Lots of notes to self, which I won't. Oh, and then this was beautiful, and this I did post this, and this literally came out like this. I had to come to Bali. I had to lay low, time with family and time with me. Not at all the holiday I expected, and so much more the personal inner retreat I didn't know I needed. Pummeled, prodded, and provoked in the heat and humidity, in the rain and sleepless nights, Bali was holding me accountable. Bali was asking me to play full out from my superpowers, from my intuition and ability to see, from my knowing that urges us not to stop and shortcut our expansion, our freedom, our joy, our ability to impact. Bali was asking more of me. Don't settle for what I've known to be true. Keep surrendering into the new. Jump again, leap again. For how else do we know what is possible? The unknown calls again, the paradox and irony, the intuitions of beautiful madness, of curiosity and detachment, amongst the whispers of human trepidation. You must surrender again into the new to experience what is possible, Bali told me, sleepless night after the other. I'm being asked to be in the unknown again and to take leaps from here, and my soul is saying yes. Those times of quantum reality shifts, I've been here before, with no foresight, not knowing what would happen, and then the unimaginably magnificent unfolded. A surge of authenticity and leadership, of faith and fire, because I dared to lead with a little bit of madness. And then the impact, the ripples, the lives changed forever. My fulfillment, my feeling full, in fact, my overflowing. The community, the sacred relationship, the ability to see and know more because of the generosity of this divine ecosystem. Bali, this was her gift. This year I unbecame and experienced resolutions and completions that were decades in the making. A fundamental shift in identity that only I could give to myself and will continue to see all the way through. Bali was asking more of me. Don't settle for what I've known to be true. Keep surrendering into the new. Jump again, leap again. For how else do we know what is possible? Be in the faith and fire of your leadership, she said, and live a life of beautiful madness, because this is a time of harvest. So then note to self, 14th of December, there is a new world coming. So again, I was sleeping more here, thank God. This was on the island of Nusa Lombongan. But I was waking up, and I was waking up to wording, and the wording that I received on during this night is there is a new world coming, which is actually a meditation I recorded in 2023. So I won't go into all the detail here other than to share what I had started to see by letting go and by allowing the new to show me what else is possible. I started to see I'm either having a sleepless night, or I'm having a dream, or I'm walking along and then somebody comes to me. So I started connecting with people in the ether again. And I started to receive directives for people. I won't name names and you wouldn't even know them anyway. But there's one woman who leads a very, 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 very big real estate agency. I got the name of a book she's going to write, Grace, Sweat and Tears. So now my intuition is asking me, with a little human trepidation, asking me to go and say, I connected with you in the ether.
Oh,
And there's a book for you to write, and it's called Grace, Sweat and Tears. I connected with another man who actually, when I first left my HR job and, surrendered and let go, I mean, that was the first moment of surrendering, let go. And then I realized what I was here to do. And I went and pitched to him and to his business partner. And they gave me my first gig where I went and worked with their company. So I got information about him and about I feel teary. And proposing to him that this is a year of masterpiece. His masterpiece. His masterpiece is coming this year. And then another woman that it's about her. Anyway, I just received a lot of specific things about people I've not connected with in years. Then I received a vision, and again with human trepidation, right? About working with particular people and their soul families. So soul families meaning people in their family, soul families meaning people who are they're friends with, and soul family meaning people who they work with. So that's another new with a little bit of human trepidation for me to follow up on. And then I received more information about, as I said to you, I felt like before even coming here, I had the intuition to put on a Festival of Beautiful Madness. I thought it was going to be in Bali. I don't think it's in Bali. And I'm going to lead it, Susie, with Charbel and Penny. But I had to go into my own Festival of Beautiful Madness, which is what Bali was about. So I'm catching up with them on Friday. And I think it's going to be like a 4-day thing, daring to lead a life of beautiful madness. And all of you will be invited, of course. I think it's going to be here in Australia. So they were the specifics that I received. And of course, bringing more people into my best year yet, because this is so good. Why not? So this was my second last note to self. Sometimes we need duality to claim our desires beyond what we've given ourselves. Sometimes we don't even know what those desires are until they've been shaken out of ourselves. And sometimes these desires are beyond personal desires. They sit in the field of callings. We are called. We are called beyond evidence of what is possible, beyond reason of what is possible. And that only becomes possible by swimming in the faith and fire of our leadership. The faith that knows our capacity beyond self-belief. The fire that asks us to dare to lead with a little bit of madness, because this is a time of harvest. A time where all that we've gathered, a time where who we unbecame, a time that bows down to the times we rose and then rose again and again, a time that honors the depth of our wisdom and experience, a time that knows that all of that is to funnel into a depth and breadth of leadership in service to something much greater than ourselves. A time that declares we were made for this moment now, to step into the unknown again and take that leap again. A time of not knowing and surrender into a generosity of leadership, because this is a time of harvest. Do you dare to take this leap that calls you forward? What if this proposition were your prayers answered, and maybe to the prayers you didn't even know you had? What if I met you in the ether and heard you calling? What if all of this, the tension, the prodding, the intensity, was designed for me to reach into my superpowers in such sacred relationship so that you can reach into yours in equal sacred relationship? What if this experience of intense duality was designed so that I could choose limitlessness of a kind I've not known before, and so that you can choose that too? What if I had to meet you in the ether so that you could believe in your own sacred nature and surrender into it? And then my final note to self on my last day: thank you, Bali. You were tough, but thank you. My last day in Bali, so looking forward to coming home. I've never felt like, when you go away on holidays and normally you're counting how many days you have left. And you're like, oh no, I've only got 5 more days. Oh no, I've only got 4 more. I was going, oh my God, I've got five more days until I get home. Yay. I had such a craving to come home, such a craving for the familiarity of home, for its safety. I've never felt this wanting to go home before on holidays. In fact, holidays have always sped way too quickly for me. But this one, 10 days felt like 20 days to me. Boy, oh boy, have I been prodded, provoked, and needled. It has been intense. Whilst I'm living a life on purpose and have achieved so much more than I could ever have imagined, it now feels small, predictable. What once was a giant leap now feels like a normalized, expected reality. It's time to take some leaps again. It's time to lead from the unknown once again. Bali charged me. She charged me to play full out from my superpowers, to lead from my intuition and ability to connect and see things, and to follow through on that knowing with zero holding back despite my human trepidation. Oh, and then it talks about the people I need to connect with. She showed me a vision of truly beautiful madness, of a depth of connection, freedom, purpose, and prosperity beyond reason by working with soul families. She showed me a world of sacred leadership dedicated to daring to take leaps and leading missions and visions of beautiful madness. It begins with the retreat that I just told you about. She worked me good in the field of duality such that I had no choice but to pay attention. She showed me the power of paradox and irony. And she's still holding me accountable to the completions and resolutions I've said yes to. I would not have seen this so quickly without this intensity. Work with this intensity with others. Lead from my sacred power, my sacred leadership, and let go and surrender. The end. So there you go. And I had to share that with you, right? I had to bring this intensity to you. So now over to you for you to share with me why I had to go to Bali, why I had to experience all that I did, and how that is of service to you.
Well, I'm going to go first.
Thank you.
And bugger, I didn't bring any tissues again because you just that really shook me
You did.
because it made me, well, a couple of things. It made me realize how strong your intuition is. Your intuition, like we've all got intuition, but yours is just, your intuition made you reach out to me at a time when I didn't know I needed that. And if I look at, if I look at my life from that time you came into it to now, I would never have believed half of what I've experienced. And I'm forever grateful for that, which I just wanted to say. Sorry, guys, who knew? Plus, it's 100% humidity here today, too. I guess what I wanted to say with bringing that up was you just keep doing, like you're saying, you've got that, this crazy idea about reaching out to that lady. Just you have to follow those, because without that, I wouldn't be in your life. I wouldn't have met all the people I have. And you were the one who came up with the title of my book, The Untangling. I never would have learnt the lessons I have about myself and about the way I show up in the world. And how do I ever express my gratitude for that? And you were also the one, when I was working with you, after every call, I would get those messages at friggin' 2, 3 in the morning, and I would have to sit up and write them out. And I was getting a bit cranky about that, but I couldn't ignore them. And that's how my book came about. Like, I put a post up, and I don't think everyone could read it, because if you're not friends with me on Facebook, then I woke up the other night just with this line, and it was, sometimes we need to learn how to let someone love us. That was my lesson. That came through, because I didn't know how, and we don't all get taught that. So those little pearls, you opened up or helped me discover something in me, that I could get these messages to share with others, and I'm just forever grateful. And I love the juxtaposition. That's my favourite word, of the irony and the
Paradox. Paradox.
Because I was lying there the other night, not sleeping again, and I got a title for my next book.
I hope you enjoyed and was activated by the intensity of my notes to self. I want to complete this episode by saying that I've been inspired. I've been inspired to share the intensity that I have experienced, as it has led me into the new, working with the paradox, of course, and irony of this being a time of harvest. I decided that I would like to end the year and begin the year with a masterclass for you, where you can come either on the 31st of December at 10 a.m. Sydney time, or Friday, the 3rd of January, Sydney time, 2 p.m. The masterclass is going to be named This is a Time of Harvest, and we're going to be exploring paradox and irony in your world and opening up to visions and missions of beautiful madness. Working with that premise that we have to let go and surrender into the new to see what else is possible. It will be a free masterclass. If you would like to join me for either of those dates, or even both of those dates, just send me a message. I don't yet have the landing page for that masterclass, but I felt pulled to share it with you now. So just send me an email saying that you'd like to come either to Tuesday, the 31st of December at 10 a.m. What a way to complete the year. Or 3rd of January, that's Friday, the 3rd of January at 2 p.m. What a way to begin the year. Thank you. Ciao, ciao for now.